something that we have on the classical guitar or nylon string guitar. That's really something very special, is this ability to create a huge range of tonal qualities. So what I thought I would do is demonstrate a bunch of different ways that really, change the tone color, the timbres and the sounds that come out of the instrument. So the first thing that we learn is the position of the right hand. So the standard position would be right down here behind the sound hole, and you play just sort of across the strings at an angle so that the nails that you use sort of just glide over the strings really nicely. Creates this really clear, very uncomplicated sound. Now what we can do next is move this hand over the fingerboard here, and this position is called tasto or sul tasto. It's much rounder, it's much sweeter. In contrast to this, we can then go to ponticello, which means at the bridge. It's sort of a more tangy sound, more metallic, definitely a different character going on there. But we can create the sound without going to the bridge. So if you need to do a quick color change or something, it's basically just not playing at an angle to the strings, but instead perpendicular. For example, if you're just going to play normally, now perpendicular. So that's really fun to experiment. You can do in different combinations, so you can do perpendicular and tasto, whatnot, all create sort of a slightly different sound, which can be really fun to use. Another thing that you can do is not only moving the position of your right hand, but also moving the position of your left hand. So it is really important what fingerings you use in the piece. Now this sounds very different if you play it, say, up here. Now we've talked about the different positions of the left hand and the right hand and whatnot, we can then talk about a few different techniques that change the sounds that come out. So the most obvious example is this one called pizzicato. And what you're doing is that you're muting the strings here at the bass, at the bridge, and generally you use your thumb to do this. That creates sort of a double bass sort of sound. I can show you. A way to do a bit of a variation on this is pretending that you have a plectrum, so using your nail as a plectrum and doing the same technique but using that instead. So that's really fun. That's a really interesting way to bring in a few different tonal qualities there. Now another thing, this next one is something you can do on all of the different types of guitars, of course, but it has a sort of a different sort of sound on the classical guitar, and that is harmonics. And so we have the natural harmonics, of course, first. So very bell-like sound coming out there. And then, of course, we have artificial harmonics. So basically, you're sort of pairing up a note here, then pretending that this is first position, you play the note at the fret that correlates. So, for example, the C, D, and then you have sort of an endless amount of notes that you can do with this one. So all of these different techniques that we've been doing so far generally involve the nails. But what we can also do is not play with the nails, play with the flesh of the fingertips and the thumb. We can then also play with the flesh of our fingertips. But yeah, there you have it. It's definitely not all of the different techniques that you can use, but really some of the main ones that are really fun and really create all of these different tone colors and tonal qualities and sounds out of the instrument. I hope you liked this demonstration and you found something interesting, and you go home and experiment and have a lot of fun with it. So thank you so much for listening, and until next time.